Why your hustle isn't working. Maybe you're working hard on your business, maybe you want to change your job, maybe you want to use AI revolution for your advantage, and you're constantly exhausted, over-caffeinated, and overall lost. You wanted to change your situation to become this guy, happy, fulfilled, free, and you're not at all this, and you're starting to ask yourself questions. Is it worth it? Is this how it should be? What am I doing wrong? And is this really what I want? If this is how it's going to look like, maybe this is the way, not needing anything. Happy monk that is happy even though it's raining. Look how he's smiling. He looks very happy, right? I wanted to make my situation better, and I start to ask myself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because it doesn't look like it. And the answer to this is this quote: "But first seek the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you." I'm not a religious person. I'm not trying to convey you to my cult, and my Kundalini is not rising. I don't want you to join my sex cult, or I'm not telling you to just let go and let Jesus take the wheel. That's not what I mean by seeking first the kingdom of God. What I mean here is that you have to focus on your state first. Because if you will not fix your state, this guy will be in control. And whatever you will do, you will always end up in the same place. And your brain will tell you that it's not enough, that you should push harder, get after the next thing, and you will be stuck in this never-ending cycle. And you will never unfuck your situation with the tool that is fucked in the first place. So you have to focus on fixing this, and this is, in other words, mental health. And you probably heard that hundreds of times on social media. Please don't let it be another video about how mental health is important, but the question here is this: do you really know what mental health is? You probably know from social media what mental health is not. So it's not depression, it's not being sad, it's not loneliness. But what it is, and why is it important to stop hustling and get out of this situation? The truth is that your default state should be that you just sit in your room, empty room, you're not doing anything, and you're still happy. And you might look around yourself and you don't see anyone like it, and nobody is happy because nobody is treating their mental health seriously. People just run after things and they overlook it, and they're never happy. And if you want to get out of this situation, or you don't want to get into this situation, mental health will in the end come back and bite you in the ass. And this is what your mind might be saying to you right now. Just tell me how to make it work. I just want to make money, bro. Don't tell me about fucking mental health. I don't give a fuck. My situation is fucked. I have to make money. This is still this guy yelling, and he is in control. And you don't want it to be like that, because being only results oriented, aka grinding, will, first of all, as I already told you, keep you in a hamster wheel. And second, you have to understand how it really works. In short, you are this guy thinking that if he will work on his bicep muscle for long enough, he will be happy. And this is what he's after. But he is ignoring the fact that his arm is broken all of this time. His arm is injured. And he thinks that when he will increase his bicep, this will go away. And as stupid as it sounds, when it comes to exercising, you can just get this shit together and then exercise, or take care of this, and whilst you're taking care of this, go and exercise further. Nobody is doing that when it comes to mental health. And that's why focusing on your well-being should come first. So first of all, if you will not fix the fundamentals, so getting rid of these things like trauma, poor diet, poor sleep, bad habits, toxic environment, you're pushing against them to reach your goals. If you would be able to get yourself to a point zero when you're just happy in an empty room, and then from that place go towards your goals, it would make it so much easier. You can still, as with the arm example, keep going by taking care of your arm. However, it's possible. You don't have to just focus on this and then come back to training. But if you will not take care of the basics, it will just pull you towards this side over and over and over again. The basics, you can pause the screen right now if you want to read through them. We will not get into them that much in this video, but in short, the closer you are to organic, natural and simple life as we were living thousands of years ago, the better. Burnout and exhaustion overall is a good way to discover your limits, and I think it's necessary to get through that stage to know how much you should push yourself. And when you are bullshitting yourself and telling yourself, oh, I'm fine, I'm good as I am, but not a good strategy in the long term. And how I got to a realization that I have to fix my mental health and focus on it more. I was talking with my friend and he told me that I'm not happy, that I'm just not seem like a happy human being. And I didn't know what he mean. I know that I'm happy, I'm working on what I want to work on, I following my passion, but still, if you are neck deep in the situation that you can't see from an outside perspective, you might be blind, you might be just unconscious to what's going on. So I took it seriously and I started to research the topic more, asking myself, what if I'm wrong? First realization that I had is that just because you like doing something or you want it badly doesn't mean that you can't overdo it. So even if your goals are like your dreams are great and you think that when you will get it, it will be fucking fantastic, or if you love your job, like you love writing, you love programming, whatever you're after, just because you like it or you like the idea of it or the end goal doesn't mean that you can't overdo it. You can get sick of something, however great it is, you can just get sick of it. And you don't want to do this because at some point you might get to a situation that you're just like, I'm done, I quit, I don't want to do this anymore, and all of that grind and hustle will be for nothing. So you cannot just ignore it and treat it like it's nothing. Second conclusion that I got from that is that effort and goodwill aren't always wise. What do I mean by that? You might be working hard, working a lot, and your intentions are great behind it. Maybe you want to make money because you want to get this apartment for you and your wife. Maybe you want your kid to have a great future. You're making a lot of effort and you have goodwill, but if you will overdo it, it can backfire and come back and bite you in the ass. You might ruin everything that you're working hard for, and by just ignoring and pushing and working towards something, at some point it can backfire and bite you in the ass. When I was thinking about it all and trying to figure out how to find a sweet spot for myself, I remembered this guy. If you don't know him, he's investor, angel investor and tech guy. He was also on Joe Rogan podcast. He's pretty famous and he's all about maybe not work-life balance, but about treating wealth not only as financial wealth, but wealth overall, being wealthy in any area of your life. And I remember this quote from him: if you're so smart, why aren't you happy? And that happiness is a choice. And it might sound outrageous if your situation is fucked, but remember, this is the guy that is talking. He is the problem. What if happiness is just a choice? What if you could be both happy and productive at the same time? And to reach that place, what you have to understand is brain care, because this guy is just an organ, just like your body, and he needs to be taken care of. He needs exercise, good sleep, good diet, all of these things that I covered in basics. But there are also extra things that you should take care of if you want to fix your mental health per se. And first of these things is sleep, and that sleep should be your number one priority. And if you will observe people around you, nobody is doing that. Nobody is really treating that seriously. What does it mean? That your schedule, if you will understand it, then your schedule should revolve around sleep. So for example, you know that you need 8 hours of sleep and you go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6. But sometimes you tell yourself, but what if I will wake up at 5 and then do more work? Or if I will spend 1 hour more here working? Then you do not understand this once again. And this is your brain talking. This is your brain pushing you to more work. You're not seeking the kingdom of God first. As you can see in the basics, there's 3 of sleep and how you should take care of it. So most people are at stage 0, where they don't get enough sleep. But if you're at stage 1, you get enough sleep, and alarm clock is something that is keeping you in that zone. At stage 2, you can use Sleep Cycle app. Sleep Cycle app is an app that is monitoring your sleep stages. You probably were in this situation a lot of times before, where you sleep 10 hours per night, and some nights you just sleep for 5, and these 5 hours were better than these 10 hours. Why is it like that? Because your sleep is going through stages, and if you will wake up in this deep sleep state, it's very bad for you, because you should wake up in a state where your sleep is light or your body is naturally trying to wake up. And this app, so Sleep Cycle, will help you with that. I used it for some time, but now I am fortunate enough that I can have a natural sleep, so I can wake up with no alarm. I work on my business in the mornings. In the afternoons, I'm working a part-time job, so this is the best stage that you can be at. You go to sleep naturally and you wake up naturally too, and you let your body to dictate that. Another thing is meditation. I do not mean as a spiritual practice or like consciousness practice or anything like that. It is just like bicep curls for your brain. As we said here, your brain is just an organ, and you need to exercise him the exact same way as you're exercising your body. And meditation is like doing bicep curls for your brain. What do I mean by that? Wandering mind is not a happy mind. About 37 of waking hours are spent thinking about what isn't going on. That's a lot. That's almost half. And if your mind is wandering, it's not happy. And you don't want it to happen. You want to bring your mind back into present moment over and over again and focus on what is, and meditation is exactly that. So you can use any form of meditation, but the basic thing that we're after here is to bring your mind from wandering, from being unhappy on things that are not working, how he treated me, this conversation tomorrow that we have, that some event that happened 10 years ago, towards here and now, and these are bicep curls for your brain, because you train it over and over again to come back to a present moment. And next thing is gratitude, and this is fucking huge. This is the most important thing that you can do for your mental health, and this will change your results, and this will get you out from this whole situation. So here's a cool fact: a 5-minute daily gratitude practice can boost baseline happiness by 10%. That's roughly equivalent to doubling your income. So you might be working for a year, 2 years to double your income, maybe even more than that, and just 5 minutes of daily gratitude practice can give you the same amount of happiness. And it's not only that it will increase your happiness, you have to understand that if you will increase your happiness, and by performing better, you then can increase your income even faster. So it's like a cycle. You do this, you're more happy, you work better, you increase your income, and you're even more happy. So this is a lot smarter approach than just grinding and pushing and ignoring your mental health altogether. How you can do that in practice? First thing is gratitude journal, and I do this just using a pen and paper. I do this every single morning and it works for me. It's not even 5 minutes, I think, that I do this, but I do this every day. And important things to remember here, because you might be skeptical about it and it might sound gay for you and that it's like some spiritual manifestation practice, but it's not at all about this. First thing that you have to understand is to not delude yourself. It's not about this. This is about just exercising the muscle that your brain is. What do I mean by that with gratitude? How does it apply to gratitude. Why gratitude is also like a bicep curl for your brain. How does it work? When I'm saying that you shouldn't delude yourself, what I mean by that is that you write down things that you are grateful about, that if you wouldn't have, life would be very fucking hard and fucked up. So I have a friend that is bipolar, and his life looks in a way that for 4 months he's in a mania episode. He wants to do everything. He's very happy about his life and he wants to accomplish things. And then for a year, he's in a depressed state where he cannot move from his bed. And imagine being in his situation, that you want to do something, you want to work on something, you want to achieve things, but you simply fucking couldn't because of mental illness that you have. Focus on the things that you have and write down the things that you have. And if you didn't have them, life would be fucked up and hard. The fact that you have an internet access, that you ate today, that it's good weather, it's summer. Once again, doing bicep curls for your brain and focusing on what is and what you have here. And it should be like meditation. Another thing that I do is I take photos every single day, almost every single day. In the beginning, it was like a habit that I was developing, but now it's more of a thing that I do here and there out of inspiration. And once again, it puts you more in here and now to focus on what is, what's nice about the city that you live in, etc. All of that will give you just higher FPS. If you don't know what FPS is, it's frames per second. You start to notice these things that are going on in between you and your results. So what's going on around you? You will just perform better on a daily basis because you will see more. You will see opportunities that you don't see right now. So let's say that you don't do this. You wake up and because your mental health is not that good and you know that you will have to go to this work that you hate, first thing that you do is you scroll on your phone in the morning because you just cope, and then you go to work. You click through some bugs, some issues that your PC has, but you are ignoring them over and over again because you just want to push and do the work. And this is another micro friction that is happening. Then you argue with your spouse when you come back home. These things are taking your time day after day after day, and because of that you get a lot less done as a result, and you don't even see it because you didn't train your mind with practices like gratitude or meditation, and you just have lower FPS and you keep on ignoring them and just pushing to get to the end point, and this in a long term will not work for you. So the books that I read while going through, like understanding that better and that helped me, were first Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. It's kind of helpful but still gay, because the vibe that I get from this book is that you should just make yourself a cocoa and feel good about yourself, cover yourself with a blanket and start working from that point. I get it. It has a place, because before I was living in this small room that had like 7 square meters, and I was ignoring my state and just forcing and pushing, and yes, this doesn't work. You feel like shit, and I was either working super hard or smoking weed or playing video games just to relax and unwind. That's what I was telling to myself, because I was constantly burned out. And yes, it has its place, but it's still gay. This book, first couple chapters are helpful. This book is more for normies, for the masses that want to feed their ego how great they are. They feel great, but not really being productive and results oriented. Another book is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, so the guy that I mentioned earlier, and this book is gold. Another thing that I recommend is The Renaissance of Productivity, so my course in which I share lessons that I went through. There's a book list with my summaries, 2 bonus ebooks that you get for free. First, how I stopped feeling like shit, and the second about how I increased my testosterone. Practical exercises for each lesson, tools like efficiency ledger that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Also, there's a cool storyline about how Modern Leonardo went through a journey to become more productive from being just addicted loser. First link in the description. If you want to learn about how to use your focus and attention to get rid of negative thinking and become more productive, go and watch this video. To be continued.